Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Sacred Seasons. I was 3 weeks postpartum with my firstborn, sitting in my rocking chair in the living room. My husband was watching Pardon the Interruption, if you guys know, PTI for sports lovers. I can still hear the commentators in the background. My beloved mom was in the kitchen making her delicious pineapple upside down cake because I'd had such a traumatic birth. She didn't really know how else to comfort me, beyond making me food. May Allah preserve her. And in that moment, I felt this weight, and it wasn't the physical weight of recovery, but the crushing awareness that I had a new kid in the world whose survival depended on me, that every choice I made was shaping who he was becoming. The feeding choice I would decide for him, whether he would be breastfed or formula fed, and which one deserved my sacrifice, because let me tell you, breastfeeding at first is excruciating, and I don't care what anyone says about proper latching. Yes, it can help a little bit, but for a first-time mom, breastfeeding is a very difficult experience. At least I can speak for myself. It was the kind of clothing, lotion, toys, vaccination. There were so many decisions that I felt the weight of. And later on, it would be the schools I'd choose, the environment I'd create for him, the media I would let him consume, the words I would say. None of those were neutral because every single one was being imprinted on a brand new soul. That realization carried more weight for me because the identity I had to cultivate as a Muslim parent was very different than all parenting advice I would hear. Me, as a Muslim parent, I had to raise an identity that had to be aligned with the religion of Islam, with what pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It wasn't something I could just delegate or outsource. So as my son grew, as I had more kids, the weight was still there. And it wasn't about the day-to-day survival per se. It was more that I was making it all up as I went along. See, there's a difference between reactive leadership and design leadership. Reactive leadership is what I was doing. I would wake up, assess the immediate fires, put them out, make decisions based on what was happening and what was screaming the loudest. And basically, I was parenting from my own nervous system's alarm bells. And it worked. I'm not going to say it didn't. It worked until it didn't. Reactive leadership requires constant recalibration. Every situation feels new. Every conflict feels overwhelming. Every phase feels like you're starting from scratch. And instead of feeling like you're building, you feel like you're always just responding to stuff. At the time, I didn't have the language for what I was experiencing, and nobody could really name it around me. What I felt was pressure, and I interpreted it as poor management skills or lack of productivity or lack of consistency. On the outside, other moms looked like they had it together. They were hosting play dates in well-decorated homes. They enrolled their kids in extracurriculars. Their lives looked amazing. And I thought maybe that's what I was supposed to value and that's what I was supposed to do. So I started replicating everything that I was seeing. Every kind of motherhood version that was being promoted to me, girl, I was taking it. But none of that cured the weight I still felt. The pressure was even worse. And to top it all off, not only did I not feel like myself, but it also didn't fulfill me. It took me years to realize that I didn't actually value these things. And here's what I noticed about women around me. And I'm talking to you, my listener. The one who's researching, investing in herself and in her health, who reads the books, follows the articles, who cares deeply about doing this kind of parenting work the right way at the right time in the early years. You and I delay structures. It's not that we can't afford to build one or that we don't value it. It's because we've normalized carrying everything. And we keep telling ourselves we'll figure it out as we go because that's what we're good at. But at what cost? As a mother raising multiple kids close in age, I had very little time and energy. And I began to understand that if I was going to replicate other people's versions of motherhood without support, then something would have to give. I mean, how can I maintain a pristine home, shuttle kids through multiple activities, work on my own healing, and be the spiritual and religious anchor my kids need? I couldn't do all of that without support. And most of the time, what we give and the costs we pay is ourselves. That's when my self-talk shifted. I realized this wasn't working because I was managing the wrong things. I was managing the exterior version of a life that was modeled to me from other people, whether it's the community or social media or friends or family. But what I actually needed to do was internal work. I needed to be the person modeling how life should look like as a Muslim for myself and my kids. What truly triggered the awakening for me wasn't just that I had an epiphany one day. It was actually grief. Losing my brother suddenly, right after I had given birth, confronted me with something I couldn't ignore. I realized this was not what life was supposed to be. Grief has a way of stripping everything fake away. There was a greater purpose to life than what I was doing. The dominant theme of motherhood everywhere was just survive. Make it through the day, sleep train your kids so you can work on your side hustle or get them to bed early so you can hit the gym. Everything was oriented towards worldly outcome, but very rarely was anyone saying, hey, let's learn how to put your kids to bed and give them a healthy routine so you can have a few moments with your Lord in the middle of the night, so you can worship him with intentionality and presence. I knew that wasn't the direction I was headed. Life had to be guided by purpose, and that purpose is oriented towards the akhirah. A life oriented towards the hereafter looks very different from the lifestyle that was being promoted everywhere. Eventually, what changed was that I stepped out of self-blame and victimhood into anchored and divine-led leadership. Once I accepted the leadership role I was in, everything became clearer. I didn't feel uncertain about my role as a parent anymore. I didn't feel the need to consult everyone about every decision. I made decisions from my own purpose and values. It felt like I suddenly had a direct map, a playbook for how I was raising my children. There were fewer questions, less noise, more grounding. This is what I mean by designed leadership. It's when you build the structure once, rooted in values that don't shift with your mood or the culture around you, and you lead from it. You're not reinventing how to handle defiance every single time your child pushes back. You are returning to principles you've already anchored. You're not Googling how to teach Islam to my kids in moments of panic. You have a rhythm that is already set in place. It's doing the work for you. You're not wondering if you're doing enough. You know what your enough looks like now because you designed it intentionally based on your own capacity right now. But here's what I want you to pay attention to. Designing such stability doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from deciding you won't do it on your own. You won't figure it out. You won't wing it alone. Long-term containers create steadiness that willpower can never. Because willpower is a limited resource. It's running out by 3 p.m. on a Tuesday when your toddler has a meltdown and the dinner is barely made. But structure, it holds you, even when you can't hold yourself. If you walk into my house today, you will see that there are fewer words said and great work being done. I have set structures in our family for years now, and it works like a mean machine. And because the structure works for me, I can actually invest my time and energy into the things that matter, into becoming a better parent for my kids. And that's what I want for you, which brings me to Parenting by Divine Design. It's a year-long leadership container for Muslim moms who want to raise children in the complexity that they're living, who are done improvising. It exists so you are not reinventing your values in the wheel every time life shifts. It's there so you're not translating secular parenting advice into Islamic frameworks, and when you can't find it, you're searching Etsy or you're hopping on Canva to create something. It exists so Islamic identity is woven into your family system and rhythm and not added on when you have energy left over. And ultimately, it does 3 things really well. It reduces your decision fatigue because you'll have clear, pre-aligned frameworks for your reoccurring situations that drain you. Not rigid rules, but grounded principles. The second is that it anchors Islamic identity into your family life. And we're not doing that through tasks and printables. It's through structure that I teach you how to build. We are never adding more, but we're rather infusing what's already there with intention. And the third, it provides ongoing contextual support so that you can implement and integrate as fast and as quickly as you like, so that you can have your own working mean machine. Now, I know for a fact that the woman listening to this podcast is someone who values the Islamic identity deeply, because otherwise you wouldn't be listening to me. I know you care about leadership. You already are the kind of person who knows to invest in her well-being and her children as well. You're not looking for motivation and a pat on the back and validation. What you're looking for is design because you are tired, and I am tired for you as well. This program is for the woman who's ready to build a foundation that lasts, who is willing to show up for herself first and foremost and her family for a whole full year with a lovely group of women. And I know you are the woman who wants partnership and not just content to consume in a program. I'm going to be opening the doors on February 18th, inshallah. And I want to make one thing clear. I don't want mothers to need a personal crisis to wake up. I don't want grief, burnout, or collapse to be your teacher like it was for me. I want discernment to be your teacher. Some women from here on out will continue adjusting, managing, and recalibrating. And some women will build once and they'll continue to lead from it. Parenting by Divine Design from 0 to 12 is for the second group. I want to let you know that I am so committed to this program, as I have announced earlier, that it is the only way to work with me moving forward in the year of 2026. In fact, I turned down brand deals and sponsorships and other work opportunities. I've also grandfathered my successful signature program, Forming Early Foundations, so that I can give my full attention to the woman in this group. I'm only taking on 10 families to protect the intimacy of this group. The doors will open on the 18th, and it will first open to the people who register in the link down below. You are welcome to ask any questions and email me, and I pray that Allah guides you to the right decision. And at the end of the day, if this is for you, I know you already felt something in your body. Lean forward. And if you don't join right now, that's okay too. I really hope that my story made you feel a little less alone today. Until next week, take care. Assalamu alaikum.